I will talk today about the work with the eco-village, but before I do that, I would like to have a short introduction about some of the work we are doing, which has been a kind of a background for this project also. We have been really interested in the question how to achieve sustainable architectural and urban interventions and design, and how to take care and how to also co-create with the humans, with the environment around the place, with the resources at hand, the economy, and with also processes in general. So that we have tried to explore in many of our projects, in urban planning projects, where we often have a really large focus on how to achieve a social sustainability and spaces which trigger and enhance for social interaction and for neighborhood, like here at the courtyards in the project we have done. And also transformation of existing buildings, how to use buildings in a new way, like here the abandoned brewery, which has been then transformed into a cultural venue. We lived and worked in this project for 6 years. And also recycling projects, how to use materials and elements. Here these modules for low-cost housing projects. And collaboration projects and co-creation projects here with young people to create a park, a youth park in the city center of Stavanger, made of recycled elements from the oil industry, which is going down, like you just heard. Most in Norway, I mean, it's a bit similar like we heard about in Finland, is everything about 4 stories, 3-4 stories is built, most of it is built in concrete, even though Norway is covered by 37% of forest. So we really are interested in challenging the building industry and have specialized on timber constructions 12 years ago and really try to design multi-story larger buildings, like here these housing projects and office buildings. This is like 7th floor high. These are housing projects, and that has an incredible impact on the, of course, carbon footprint. This is a project we are doing in our own site. We think it's really interesting how the sharing economy and society really can influence our profession and the architecture. This is a collective housing project we're doing right now on our site. So somehow Norway, I mean, this is a very special context also and very different to Paris, but it is in a way privileged. On the other hand, it really has some major challenges. It has a very kind of a profound weight on the oil industry, like which is of course not environmentally friendly industry, and also it has a challenge to of the migration from the district to the city center and to keep this long country going. So this, we kind of had an exhibition in the National Museum about how, which is called Ardent Souls, because often individuals, the source for a sustainable development or a sustainable business. And that is, with this, the exhibition was kind of exhibiting ardent souls, special individuals who achieved a sustainable development. And show and tell their story. And that is a good background for the eco-village, which I want to show you now. This was a collaboration between Gaia Architects. They are environmental pioneers in Norway for a long, long time, since the 80s. NØRBAN as a mobile and consultant, and Helen Hard. Hurdal is the place. This is 90 kilometers north from Oslo, connected with public transport, and it's a a very special place because where it is located, it is a valley where several enterprises, organizations, people work together on a common vision to be a sustainable, a really incredible, sustainable and ecological focused society in every aspect. And they want to be climate neutral till 2025. They call themselves the Sustainable Valley. And it all started with ardent souls who started the Eco Village 19 years ago. This is now really growing. They're building a lot of eco houses. And it became so popular that also the national television has recently now broadcasted a documentary about the Eco Village. So the mayor and the politicians wanted to move that, also to use that concept in a more urban context in the city center, if you want to call it like that. You see it here, it's a very rural environment. And in the very beginning, we tried to make some guidelines which should help to focus on the way and also determine to a certain degree the regulation plan. Diversity, socially responsible, culture and community, health and fitness, blue-green qualities, the 1,000-meter town, climate smart, life cycle technology, flexible and resilient, and space for innovation. We had extended workshops with the inhabitants and with the population. That was a kind of very inclusive design process. How really to develop the city center and how also to implement this top 10, these guidelines in a more concrete way in the plan. Here you see some examples. For example, healthy, natural, ventilated buildings, that's an ambition. Carbon neutral timber materials, low energy buildings, local heat production, bioheight, utilize the roof surface, green roofs and solar panels, blue-green factors, enhance quality in the outdoor spaces, and so on. The 1,000-meter town, even though the planning area was much larger, we wanted really to keep within the 1,000-meter and even more the 500-meter radius, where it should be most densified. This is now the last version of the regulation plan. The heart of the whole future village will be the main square, where you have also orientation towards the town hall, the existing town hall. And then around this heart, there are different yards organized. This yard here is related to a traditional historical farm yard. And then they are all connected. This is today there is a road cross which will disappear and be a T-cross. And so it goes on. It's all together to around 600 housing units. And these yards are connected and woven together with bicycle roads and pedestrian roads. So the main heart here, the square, where you have open public and commercial facilities, services on the ground floor in all the buildings, and mixed use in all the buildings. They have a sledge world championship in Hordal, which will end on this square. And the academy, which was also on the invitation, instead of a church, which often is was the center of a village, they wanted a sustainable academy where they should collect all the organizations and enterprises working about sustainability in one building. And they wanted a really experimental building which can change over time, more like an infrastructure. The main road, east-west, which is today owned by the land as not the community and very designed for cars, should be much more designed for pedestrians and bicycle users. The schoolyard, which is the existing school extended in the city center, and then different yards which are mixed use but mainly housing. And what was a bit interesting to think about the whole plan is that it is more in a bionic way thought in the way that it is organized in different hierarchical levels, like you find always in nature. So the master plan, the work with Hurdal goes all the way back to timber elements and components, to the units, to the different buildings, which are then different typologies or different housing blocks or row house typologies or other typologies. This yard structure, and then of course the whole assemble of these yards. And each of these level has its own logic and its own way to interact with the level above and underneath. And that is was a very interesting study. So the more middle level, the yard, has a very, the aim is to have a diversity of different typologies and uses around. It's like a housing block. The car parking is car sharing that the community wants, and it's now outside the yard. The accesses are from the yard. Playgrounds and common spaces and neighborhood spaces in the yard, and also a common intelligent way to organize the infrastructure and the collective energy. There's a big focus on life cycle technology, for example, composting and black water and recycling plants here, which are under development, and you have a wood chip energy plant which is existing, and there will also come a new bioenergy station we're working on. The biggest challenge in this project is that people actually move to this place, right? That this community also is attractive that it can grow. And so it was not only a master plan, but also a business plan, how to create working places in Hurdal. And one example was a sawmill and carpentry who starts now a timber element factory producing elements in a network. And the idea is that the houses at Hurdal are built in Hurdal. The elements are developed in a network in Zurich. We have been also a part of that network. There are smaller stem cells in timber, hollow elements, which you can use in many different ways, and it fits in many different situations in Hurdal. These are now the prototype which has been done in Norway, and this is the test house which I visited yesterday in Estonia, made of these elements. So here is the situation today, and that is visualization of the development, which will take a long time. But what is really interesting in Hurdal is that we worked a lot in different communities in Norway, but we never experienced a so incredible collaboration between the public authorities, the politicians, organizations, the inhabitants on a common vision, a sustainable vision, and that makes the strength and gives the feeling of really proudness in the community, which I hope will last. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup Reinhard pour ce très beau projet. J'imagine que ça suscite